And I'm telling you, even when we arrive there early, even when there's no one there, they look at your passport, they send you to the back, and you're sitting there for 4 to 7, 8 hours. How do they know? They look at my name, they look at my color of the skin, suddenly I'm going back. There's a white guy that comes through, he goes straight through.
These are symptoms, these aren't issues. These are symptoms.
Well, they're cognizant of the underlying issues that are in our society.
There are bigger issues. But my question following from that is, if this is as it is, we have all the, I'm sorry, like my concentration isn't as good as it once was.
No problem.
But shouldn't you, is this the right venue? Is England might manufacture a few arms, which the Americans pay for and send to Israel. But England really isn't involved in this war other than its part it played. There was something called the Pico-Sykes resolution, whatever it was, after Ottoman.
Yeah.
But that was 100 years ago. This country's involvement out there, shouldn't you be in a country that could do something about this?
So Ian Cobain, he writes for The Guardian, and he has his own literature as well. He's definitely he's an Englishman, and he writes especially with regards to the MI6, MI5 and the history.
Right.
Yeah, he's written a really good book in which and even in his articles, he says, this is a Guardian article in which he says that the UK, there hasn't been a single year that hasn't passed in which the UK has not partaken in a war. Boris Johnson clearly said, we're involved. We're involved in Syria. I think it was either Syria or it was Palestine, but we're involved. Declassified have put out several articles in which they've given you the names of the artillery that has been sold via Elbit systems that has reached Israel, that's come from the UK. So the UK is involved. Even when Theresa May was being asked with regards to Syria, she said, look, and saying that, look, your bombs are killing kids. She said, hey, if it's within our national interest, we would.
This country for a long time has been an arms manufacturer. It just has. There's nothing new about that. Once upon a time, it was a massive colonial country. In the 1880s, they went around butchering the whole world. They make arms. It's what they've always done.
Now they survive with America.
Now it's America that funds it now. We're a third-rate country nowadays. Compared to where we were 150 years ago. We used to go around butchering everybody. Our colonial time has got a lot to answer for. The slavery in Africa was just
so Andrew,
terrible.
you're a 71-year-old handsome man. I'm curious, like, what is your belief with regards to the supernatural?
The supernatural?
Or the metaphysical?
No.
You don't believe in a God?
No. Well, I'm agnostic.
Okay. So
there might be one, but I'm not focused on it. It's not a big issue.
So out of interest, because obviously when we come to Speaker's Corner, it's always interesting to hear the beliefs of people and see the morality that they follow and, you know, what drives them in life. So out of interest, when you see all the complexity and the design, what do you conclude? Where did all of this design and complexity emerge from?
I think it was random. I'm very much of the view, Darwin. The Darwin. I mean, I'm a product of the society and the country in which I grew up. Andrew,
do you know that Charles Darwin, when he came up with the theory of evolution, he didn't denounce God?
No. So, I'm not. That's why I'm agnostic. I'm not. My father was an atheist. I'm agnostic. He was certain in his belief there was no God. I'm not certain about
your view is more nuanced, I would say.
Yeah, I'm not certain about anything. There might be a God. How can I know? People, I go around here. I only come to London occasionally. I'm from Leeds. And I've come to see my daughter, because she's pregnant. And she's lovely as a daughter.
I hope the pregnancy and the delivery goes well.
3 weeks to go, so I'll have a little baby. Another grandson. And what I'm saying is, my father's there, I'm agnostic. I actually don't know. If I walk around here, what frightens me is a Christian who knows every word of the Bible. Is the Bible true? Did Jesus write it, or whoever was spread the four Gospels? Or you'll see a Jew who said this is the word of God, or Moses, or he got this, and you see somebody who is Muslim who got the Quran. How do we know? 1400 years ago. Is it true? They spout it word for word as if it is God's word. But the thing I would take issue is how true is it? I personally get my morality perhaps from society, perhaps from Greek philosophers, perhaps from
Who
the
in
innate-
particular?
Nobody in particular, but just a sense of what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
Things are right, things are wrong.
Okay.
You know, help the weak, help the poor.
Yeah, very good principles.
Don't do violence, don't do murder.
So let's go back to your initial point, which was you believe all of this design, some that we can measure objectively, like the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, the golden spiral, etc., symmetry that we see.
You're a very erudite man. Have you got a degree in maths?
No, I don't, but
You are well educated.
thank you. It's the points that you're mentioning. I think you're making good points, and I feel that if I'm coming to Speaker's Corner, I should, if I'm preaching a certain philosophy or certain religion, then I need to have the backing to justify it. So that's why the questions that you've made,
Yes.
I believe I can present to you a coherent, cogent, logical view that when you speak to, say, people of other faiths, I think you will more incline towards the view that we present, because I think it will satisfy, hopefully, your logical and deductive capability and inquiry.
I've inquired widely over the years. I have taken a view to be accepting of all peoples.
As we all should be.
Yes, and not to particularly identify with any particular sect. I suppose in this country, every Christian, if for nothing else, because Christianity is established.
Yes.
You know, with the Archbishop and the monarchy and all the rest.
Yes.
It's the established religion, but it's a very tolerant religion. If you compare it to, say, Iran, which is a bit extremist, I accept, but they have a theocracy, and it's not very tolerant of other people, whereas English Christianity is very tolerant of most people. From the theocratic point of view, the governments of the people might not be.
But Andrew, I mean, I would also pass the buck on to you in terms of, I think you're intelligent as well. And
I used to be.
no, I would say so, and I'm sure you also understand not to conflate the adherence of a faith to the doctrine and to the theology itself. You can have a theology, but it doesn't guarantee that the adherence will be an accurate representation of that.
I'd go with you. I would absolutely go with you. And my personal dislikes are anybody who's extremist, what I call extremist enough to say, I am a Muslim, therefore everybody else is wrong. I am a Christian, therefore anybody who is a Christian is wrong. To not accept a lot of these people genuinely believe in God. And God might be, if there is a God, you know, he might be up, or she might be up the top of the mountain. There's a lot of different paths up that mountain. Whether you take the Muslim, the Islamic view, the Christian view.
Do you believe in absolute truth?
I'm not absolutely certain what you absolutely mean by an absolute truth. This is a very philosophical concept.
So I think absolute truth is more like an axiom in the sense that
yeah.
either you're here or you're not here. You can't be here and not here at the same time, right?
Are you getting Cartesian here?
No.
I don't think, therefore I'm not.
Well, I mean, I think Descartes was refuted by, Leibniz and those guys.
Yes.
Better than myself.
And I don't understand most of it, although I like Schumpeter, but that's more at an economic level than, and I prefer him to Keynes. But we're talking.
But you do believe that, if somebody's been run over and you see their body, you believe that they exist, that they're there, as opposed to not being there. So there is truth.
Okay, there's this sort of what do they call it? This myth. I've forgotten the correct word. Do we exist? This existence thing. Are we actors on the stage? Are we the audience there?
I've heard that.
This concept of existence. It's all relative to how do you know. So I'm not sure.
But that's good for philosophers sitting on their chairs,
Yes.
smoking weed, and that's fine. They're welcome to that.
You'll float off the chair if you smoke too much.
But I
weed.
mean, when we're going home, if you're going by car, you believe that you exist, your car exists, you believe your road tax exists, you believe the red light exists. We don't question that when we're on the way home.
It's my reality.
There you go.
And whether anybody else, whether I'm having this dream, this could all be a dream. That is a bit esoteric.
But
and this conflation idea, I don't know.
But Andrew, here's what's interesting. When it comes to making money, when it comes to, say, our daughters, the kids, you would never go to your daughter and say, you know what? What's the point? What's the point of the
God exists in my dream.
Would you ever tell her that? When she's going through labour pain, Dad, help me, and you're like, may or may not exist. Maybe.
That would not be the right time to have a philosophical discussion.
But you don't believe that, Andrew. It's nice as like a sitting around the campfire talk, but
Yes.
practical. Let's be.
The practical, I am an agnostic. I am very uncertain about most things, and I am not, fearful is the wrong word, but a tad apprehensive about people who are certain about things. I'm thinking, where do they get their certainty?
And that's good. Questioning is good.
That certainty can move out to extremism, and once you're an extremist, you actually feel justified in killing other people because you're right, therefore they're wrong.
There's extremism everywhere, unfortunately.
Yes, I get
in business,
Yes.
in police, in every aspect of society, and that's why
But I think
it's very important to stay in the middle path. This is what the Quran says.
But religious
middle
extremism
path.
has driven a lot of violence over the centuries. Even now, that's my belief. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Karen.
That's a perception.
There's a scholar called Karen Armstrong. She used to be a nun. She's written a book called Fields of Blood, and she looks into all of these quote-unquote religions that have committed violence. And she's concluded that a lot of this violence, if not all, has been due to geopolitics.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's tribal.
Yeah.
If that's an appropriate word.
So
Do the Gazans hate Israelis, or the Muslims hate Jews? And you talk about the conflation earlier. That is that they don't necessarily conflate. There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places geographically where Christians. I mean, once upon a time,
The Prophet Muhammad, one of his wives, peace be upon him, was ethnically a Jew. A lot of people don't know this. So they may and lay all sorts of accusations, and Karen Armstrong further elaborates on this, and she says it's only after land came into issue, that's when people started weaponizing religion.
Well, tribal and geopolitics.
Yes,
I mean, you go back a further 600 years back from the Prophet. If I'm not mistaken, Hagar gave birth on the knees of Sarah to Abraham. Was it Ishmael?
I mean, you don't believe in religion, so that's mythological to you, isn't it?
No, I'm familiar with it, but that's the history. You can know about the history of theology, and it's interesting, like history generally.
But let me tell you something, Andrew. The Quran is the only book that of the ancient religions that claims to have manuscripts dating to the time of preservation. The Jewish
times of preservation.
Oh yes, the time of the Prophet.
Oh, what is that? Preservation? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the preservation.
I think preserving something.
Yeah, because it was revealed to the Prophet. It was revealed to his heart.